Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats our boat. So today I'm going to be reviewing a new show called High Potential, Season 1, Episode 8. So before I get into the review, I just want to say thank you to everybody who likes and watches and subscribes to my channel. I appreciate you so much. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So this episode, I liked that it started out with Morgan kind of going on that date with Tom. He's the janitor at the police station. It was a breakfast date, which I thought was kind of cute too. I've never been on a breakfast date either, but I thought that was kind of cute that they were still finding time to meet. And then, of course, the first case, there they find a girl out on the beach. Morgan realizes that she could still be alive, so I'm definitely glad she was on the scene and found that out before they put her in a body bag. And she's going by the name Heather Wallace, which we obviously find out is an alias. Her real name is Penny Hall, and she's doing her own kind of investigating of her boyfriend's murder. So it's a cold case. They never found anybody, but her boyfriend was a tennis instructor at this really snobby, rich country club. So once they go back to her apartment and they see she kind of has like a board with people's names and writing on it, and that's when they kind of realize, oh, she went by a fake name. Oh, she's dating these people, to kind of see what they know about her boyfriend's death. So, it's definitely interesting. I was like, oh, that's so terrible. They never found out who killed him. But now they kind of have to, because now that's part of the case. Whoever maybe killed her boyfriend could have attacked her and almost killed her. So the good news out of that is they're opening up the case. And of course, if Morgan's on the case, we're going to find out who it is. So of course, they go to the country club, and it's exactly what you expect. No judging, I've been to country clubs before, but the owners are two brothers, two men that are brothers, and they're very, very stuck up and very snobby. Don't like them at all. And you can tell they really look down on anybody who isn't there, which of course, the way Morgan dressed, that was going to come into play. And Morgan's little comments are straight on. I love the way she commented about her attire and the dress code and everything. So that was always comical because, Morgan speaks her mind. But the brothers, we found out one of the brothers, Blaine, found out, or actually, I guess I should say Lucas, her boyfriend, found out some of the dealings that Blaine was doing. They interviewed this one guy who sold drugs to the members, and he was involved with Blaine, which is one of the brothers as well. So then you start thinking, okay, well, maybe Blaine killed Lucas, because Lucas, knew about it, and maybe Lucas was going to threaten to tell his brother or expose him. So, you always think like, okay, well, that's the obvious suspect. So it's probably somebody else, right? But either way, they came across as very snooty brats, and you were just like, yeah, you probably think you're better than everybody. We need to nail you for something, So it was definitely, neat to see the way Morgan did it. When they reopened Lucas's case, one thing that kind of stood out to me too was there was rice in his hair. And I was like, okay, why would you have rice at the beach? And then there was some antifreeze, and I was like, okay, yeah, he was obviously dumped there, but what was the rice in the hair? So that kind of had me thinking too. So she goes over to the detective's house, and they stay up all night working the case, basically. And then she leaves, and she sees a light in the hallway as soon as she leaves his apartment, and it's like a light bulb goes off in her head, and she's like, I know exactly what happened. And it turns out the brother was protecting Blaine. So his brother Edward was actually protecting him. Lucas went to Edward and was like, look, your brother's doing all this stuff. You need to stop him. So it turns out, one brother killed to protect the other brother. And, I don't want to say happy ending because it's never a good thing when somebody passes. But the fact that, they actually went to the hospital because obviously Penny almost died. And when they told her the news, like, hey, we caught the person who attacked you and we also caught his killer, it's closure. I always like to use that word because when you grieve, there's no good, right? It's not a win-win. You still lost your loved one. There is no happy ending. It's just closure, knowing that the person who did it and was responsible is not going to hurt anybody else and that they're going to get justice. So that's really all I can hope for, is to have that closure. So she obviously went to great lengths to find out who Lucas's killer was. So, like I say, I'm not necessarily happy for her because it's not a happy situation, but you want to know that closure. If something happens to a loved one, not knowing is just as hard as losing that person. So definitely glad, she was able to tell Penny in person. And then, of course, the last scene, she goes on a date with Tom again. But then during the date, the lieutenant calls. And first thing I think of is the lieutenant's calling her from the police station. It's at night because they're on a date. Like, it's got to be about Roman, right? So it is. It's about the missing persons case for Morgan's ex, Roman. And she actually has a lead this time. So this has kind of been a storyline that's been going throughout the whole series from the beginning. You find out that Morgan left, when her daughter Ava was a little baby. He went out to buy diapers and never came back. So Ava's been living, she's a teenager now, 15 years later, and she just believes her dad, couldn't take it and ran out on him. So the lieutenant at least found a couple episodes ago, they found his car and they found the diapers in it. So at least they know he didn't run away. But we still don't know what happened to him. So every couple episodes, you'll see a scene with the lieutenant and Morgan trying to go over, and because Morgan basically said, I'll help you solve crimes, but you in agreement have to open up a cold case with my ex Roman, because I need to know that something happened to him, and I need to know that he didn't just walk out on us. I don't believe he did. So this was actually a solid lead. They found a man that Roman came across with more than once. And they actually found him and are bringing him in for questioning. So that's kind of how the episode ends. So Morgan is definitely hopeful. Obviously, she's not going to tell her daughter anything yet, but I have a feeling they're going to kind of drag this storyline on. Hopefully just for the first season. I hope High Potential gets a second season, but this is something that it seems like, they can really kind of clear this up by the end of the season, the next couple episodes. Now that you have a live person, a live lead, that should hopefully bring her some closure, and Ava as well. It's hard to grow up thinking that your dad abandoned you, so I think that's going to help her daughter as well. But all in all, it was a great episode. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, I love the little one-liners and the attitude Morgan has, which I totally agree with. I mean, she goes there, there's a dress code, they have to make her wear a jacket. And I just think, maybe not all clubs are like that. Obviously, I can't speak for all country clubs, but they can be stuffy and snobby, and, nobody's above the law. So I'm definitely glad that they were able to find this, because basically one brother's killing for the other, and the one he's killing for is doing all these bad things. So, definitely need to stop that and not just cover it up and be okay with what your sibling is doing. So definitely like that it came to a closure for Penny, because she's been looking and trying to figure out who killed her boyfriend for 2 years now. That's been her life. So, she gets some closure, and hopefully she can move on from this. So, I always love it when it ends like that, where people can get their closure, because, we're always thinking, our minds are always going, and we need that. We need to know that justice is going to be served. So, I hope you liked my review. I hope you enjoyed the episode. So, until next time, bye.